Hey, welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is your host, Jim. I'm excited about our guest today. He's been in our community for quite some time now. I had the pleasure of sitting down with him a few years ago, which is where my story starts with Adrian, and just listened to his fascinating story. I don't know, I think we talked for a couple hours that night, Adrian, and you were fairly new to the idea of selling online. And at the time, serving admirably. If I remember correctly, I called him a hero, and I still see him that way because he was serving as a police officer. And if I remember correctly, you've got military background as well, correct?
Right.
Adrian? Yeah. And man, just one of those frontline guys. I mean, like he's chased bad guys down the street, tackled them, broke his fingers, and got shot at. I mean, he's one of these guys that just went from that to saying to himself one day, man, I got kids. I want to do something different. He found online business opportunities. He's risen in the ranks. He's now one of our coaches at Jim Cockrum Coaching. Just a high motivation guy. One of those guys that has the routine that you just look at. And we'll want to hear a little bit about your routine today, Adrian, because he's one of these guys that early to rise, hit it hard all day, check off all 80 boxes of his to-do list and hit it again the next day, man. He's one of those guys, eats right, works out, like motivational. So I'm really excited to turn the microphone over to Mr. Adrian Friday today. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing awesome today. Doing awesome.
Fill in some gaps on that story, man. Take us back, and I'll ask some questions as we go.
Well, definitely we'll start with the spark. Okay. So during that conversation that we had in Vegas, that was kind of the permission slip that I needed. I know you always talk about the bringing dads home, but I had never in my life heard anything like that. And sitting at the table, we were sitting there for over 3 hours, which I greatly appreciate the generosity,
We talked for 3 hours. I didn't.
3 hours.
The time flew by, buddy. Wow. And how long ago was that, man? It's been at least 4 years?
2014. That was 2014.
4 years ago. Okay. That's when we met.
Yeah,
I don't remember what that event was. I've been to Vegas for so many events. Do you happen to remember?
The Wholesale Sourcing Conference.
Okay. Yeah. We were there for ASD stuff. Right. Yeah. And right. Okay, cool. Beautiful. All right, man. So yeah, we had a great conversation. And, we were there at a table with a few other folks, but very quickly, my attention was just like on this Adrian guy. Like, what a fascinating I just remember thinking, man, I would love to see this guy get to be home with his kids, man.
Yes. Because I was definitely, breaking bones, and I say bleeding for this country, for years. And so from a combat veteran, I was paramilitary or mercenary for a while, and then I went from that to a police officer with a little bit of other jobs in between. But the law enforcement was, definitely where I came to that I have to do something different. Like I felt like I've served the country for long enough, and I think I need to serve my family more at a higher capacity. And so, that spark, it was like you started a fire, and it was like my whole attitude towards what's possible for my life changed. I started getting into the message boards, seeing the different businesses that were on the offline biz and the online biz groups, and like, wow, like these people are doing so many different things. And so I had the shiny object syndrome for a while until I found my niche. I found my little rhythm, and my rhythm was in wholesale. And so once I got that little pocket going, and it took off. And so I would say, just for anybody that's starting, I would say find your individual weirdness, your individual the expression that you can bring to the market. Amazon is a marketplace that is built on new products coming in, not necessarily jumping on other existing listings that are already around. The marketplace never expands if we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. We have to bring those new products to the marketplace. And so like, that's where I made my money. That's where I've made my 6 figures. That's where I made my income to quit my job to do this full time for the last 4 years, you know, by letting go and doing what other people are not willing to do.
I love it. You know, you make a very important point, and I've said it before, but I love when someone who hasn't been doing this for 18 years comes along and reinforces. You know, you came in and you're filling gaps in the Amazon marketplace. Some people are under the impression, Adrian, that Amazon's kind of full of all the good products, and it's a matter of, you know, going out and trying to find a cheaper price for the stuff that's already out there. And what you're saying is, no, bring new products to market. And it doesn't even have to be creating new products. It's just stuff that's not on Amazon yet. And let me just throw a number out there and see if this resonates with you, Adrian. It's my professional opinion, after having done this for quite some time, that Amazon has maybe 10 to 15% of the products that could be on Amazon at this point. That's a rough estimate. Meaning there's somewhere around 90% of stuff that's just not on Amazon yet that would probably do very well there.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree. We haven't even really broke the mold on this stuff. I mean,
and that's not even counting the fact that every month there's cultural shifts. There's new trends and fashion and movies and new things that happen to our culture that create whole new categories of product. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the stuff that's already out there. And I don't think Amazon's ever going to get past 20, 25%, ever, no matter how hard they try. Jeff Bezos has the dream of being the everything store. They'll never get there because every day around the world, you and I were just talking about a product you're working on, a new creation. Yeah. There's constantly going to be new stuff coming to the market. They'll never catch up. So that's really kind of the Wild West of all of this, is bringing new stuff to market. So take us through your story.
That's why it's almost absurd to not bring products to Amazon, because there's so much opportunity out there. Instead of fighting over the same listing, racing to the bottom, create something new. Like, go onto these aisles if you're doing retail arbitrage and look at like what's missing. And don't be afraid to bring that product. Brand loyalty is out the window. It's gone.
Be right.
People are looking for quality. They're looking for a story. They're looking for something that they can connect with, you know? And so be that gap filler, you know?
Yeah. I mean, well, you're basically telling the story of Dynasty Toys right now in a way. You know, we start off not with a product, but with a story. You don't have to do it this way, but it's very powerful to show up with a story that resonates, that people share. And then you've got that audience. Right. And you can say, hey, audience, here's a product. And even if only a small percentage of them want it, well, you've got a lot of people now buying your product. If you stick it on Amazon, you've boosted it now into the first page of results, for example, where millions of strangers now see that same product. I mean, that's the story behind our laser toy products, our laser guns. Right. There's other people out there with similar looking stuff, but we blow them away. We destroy them because we have our own audience. We're not relying on Amazon's audience. So you say, telling the story, that's actually where we start before we even introduce a product. But that sounds complicated and intimidating to some people, I understand. So even if the only thing you do, I want to see if this resonates with you, Adrian. Let's talk to that new person out there for just a second. If the only thing you do is find products that aren't on Amazon yet and buy somewhere between 3 to 5, maybe 10, if they're inexpensive or if you're bold, and send them in with some decent keywords that you think up off the top of your head as the description and the product title. And that's all you do. Can that model work, in your opinion?
In my opinion, that model will not work in the current PPC, CPC environment.
So improve on that model. What skills would I need to bring to the table to make that work?
Well, you're gonna need tools like merchant words. You're not gonna be able to just think things off the top of the head. You're gonna need a little bit more help, because there's software out there that is analyzing the marketplace that has taken it to a whole other level, where if you're not competing on that level, then you're going to get swallowed up. Okay. And so these are not the days of just kind of just throwing the listing up. It's like being, I don't want to use a needle in a haystack, but you're just one person in the crowd of like a million products saying, hey, buy mine. And it's like, no, we need more than that. We need to approach influencers. We need to build fan groups on Facebook. If it's not a keyword sexy product, then you need to educate people. And this is what Facebook comes into play. If it's something that is for like makeup, cosmetics, things like that, more trendy, lifestyle photos are really effective in educating people, then Instagram is your platform. And so knowing what product that you have and then where to pivot that marketing for the product or the education for it. Where do you tell your story and where is that story going to be best received? That is what you need to start with instead of just keyword. You can have no keyword. You can just have the crappiest title in the world. But if the thing is being pointed from the correct platform, you're going to get sales.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's an unstoppable system. I completely agree with you. It is bringing your own traffic to Amazon. Completely unstoppable. That's what our proven audience formula strategy is all about. And I understand, again, to some people that sounds intimidating, but it's just not. Maybe you could give us an example from your arsenal, either a student or one of your products where, not to put you on the spot, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but give us an example of an audience being brought to Amazon to propel a product. The Dynasty story has been told multiple times. So people, if they've listened to other episodes, past episodes, they've heard us discuss, we're coming into this Q4, Adrian, with millions of people who are either pixeled on Facebook, which simply means they've seen one of our ads, and Facebook lets us ping them again if we want to, because they've seen one of our videos or interacted with us in some way on Facebook. Millions. And we can hit them with another ad anytime we want to. That's a big advantage that we have for all of our toys, not just for the specific products that they've seen in the past. But what stories do you have where you've successfully brought an audience to Facebook and succeed? Before you answer that, I just want to fill in one other little gap too. And we haven't told enough of your story yet either.
I know,
we're jumping all over. We'll jump around. But I do want to say I happen to know firsthand that model that I proposed. I know someone who that's all they do is spend $20 to $50 at a time, test products on Amazon, guess at the keywords using no tools, and they're doing really well. If something doesn't sell, they don't buy any more of it. If it takes off, they do buy more of it. So I'm just saying, even if that's your security level, that's all you're willing to do, at least get in there and try and fail at that. But the big numbers can come from having your own audience. And that's when you can get off Amazon and even get into other platforms. So if that's set up, Adrian, give us an example if you got something that comes to mind.
Well, we could talk about one of my products. I don't want to talk about specifics of it, but I have offline. I have a waiting list that is going to be about 2 months just getting to this product. Okay. I can't even produce enough of it to get to Amazon yet. And so this is because I established myself as the expert off of Amazon. I established myself in the Facebook groups, the biohacker community as an expert, just getting in there, answering questions, just delivering value. Gary Vee wrote a book that jab, right hook.
Yes.
That's the model that I use. Go in there, give, then ask. I gave so much over the last few years that when I asked for something, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
I never asked for anything. I helped everybody on their projects. I helped everybody if they needed photos for products, if they needed like reviews, whatever you needed. I was there for you, and it's just, you had a question about what's the best kettlebell workout? What's the best antioxidants? What's the best this? So, I was there for everybody. So when I came with my ask, blew me away.
Yeah, and you know what? You're kind of living proof that this is we're actually in a relationship business. As much as impersonal as the internet feels sometimes, really, you're going to look back at your story, and everyone does this. You can look back. It's like the answer to every challenge I faced along the way. It ended up being a person, not necessarily a tool or an event. It was the people behind the tool. It was the people who attended the event. It was the conversations that I had. It was, those are the things that get you over the hump. So if you go in and just serve, that's why I love the My Silent Team. To my knowledge, our Facebook community. And for those listening, we'll stick a link in the show notes like we always do to all the interesting stuff that we talk about today. You can go to silentgym.com/podcast. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, just look down we've got a lot of people who are starting to watch us on YouTube. I say about 95% still just listen, but no matter how you're listening today, there'll be a link near this so you can check this stuff out. But our Facebook group coming up on 50,000 people, it's free. There's nothing like it anywhere else because it's in our charter. It's in our founding principles that we welcome new people, ask your questions. We're going to help you out. And if you've been around a while, help people out. So we're fostering this whole thing of serve before you ever ask for anything. So it's a brilliant strategy that you've deployed without even knowing it was a strategy. It's just basically being a good human, but you build a relationship, right? Being a good person.
Being a good person. And it works the same with wholesale. It works exactly the same with wholesale. When I go to America's Mart, those contacts who know me, who I've just delivered value to, they hug me. It's kind of like, but it's the relationship. A lot of these reps, they work for multiple companies throughout their lifetime. And so they're going to take you along with them. As they grow their product, they're going to take you along with them. Mm-hmm. And so building these relationships is crucial.
Yeah. There's a compounding effect to relationships. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was having this conversation with my 18-year-old, and he, I started thinking entrepreneurial in my early 30s. So he doesn't just have a 10 or 12 year head start on me in relationship years, because he's building relationships with great people. There's a curve, almost like investing and reinvesting your income. There's a curve that happens where you start just great opportunities falling in your lap about, for me, it started happening about 15 years in, where it's just, this thing's just lighting up with opportunities every day,
right?
Because of relationships I established 10, 12, 15 years ago. And it's finally at that tipping point where I'm the guy in people's heads that top of mind when they think, I need an internet marketing expert. I need someone who knows what they're doing about with Amazon, with, an Amazon training course. There's 1,000 courses out there, but we're top of mind for tens of thousands of people. Why? We've been doing it the right way a long time. So that tipping point comes slowly. So you're taking the slow path. The relationship path is the slow path, but there's an exponential curve. There's a hockey stick to it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And to think that my son will be experiencing that in his mid-20s, whereas it took me till I was almost 50. Like there's a lot of life left to live with all those strong relationships that he's building, right?
Right.
Big advantage there. So you're starting to feel some of that. But I just wanted to interject that. It's a slow process. Relationships take time. You have to be a genuine person.
It is a slow grind. And it's sometimes it's hard when you're looking at people like, they're posting these numbers and they say, oh, I hit 1 million. And I'm, and I've been around just as long, but I really had to go inside of myself and really block out the traffic. You guys don't see me that much on the boards and stuff just because I'm focused. And I have my mission, I have my path, and I'm going to stay in alignment with that regardless. They are not my competition. I am my only competition.
That's good.
Every day, every day I wake up, we talked about the routine. I'm up at 4 a.m., every day. I get up at 4 a.m. and I trade stocks. I'm a professional trader from 4 till about 6. And then I do my dad routine where I'm cooking breakfast, getting everybody up, dressed, out to school. And then after that, I go into, I trade the market open, the New York Open. And I do that till about 11 a.m., work out after that. 2 times a week, yoga. The other times a week, I'm throwing kettlebells, doing all kind of crazy tire pulls and stuff. And then when it comes to...
You run, you ride your bike.
I ride about...
We were swapping stories, man. Like you got me beat on the health routine, dude, but I'm hanging in there for an old guy.
Yeah. But after that, about 1 p.m. is when I start Amazon. And then I'm doing Amazon for the rest of the evening, coaching calls, sourcing products, talking to manufacturers, wholesalers. And so that's about 1 p.m. to about maybe 9, 10 at night. So Next day, get up, do it again. You know, I don't take weekends off or anything like that. This is an everyday regimen. You know, I've turned, if I could summarize this, I guess it would be create a life that you don't need a vacation from.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
That would be the essence of what I'm doing right now. People from the outside, it might look like, dude, you're working 24/7. No, this is fun. Like, like, man, there's not a second of this that I don't enjoy. You know,
you're just having, yeah. And I can attest to the fact that, you know, I made the comment before we started recording, but this is true. I mean, you know, those watching on YouTube will see, you know, you look at Adrian and try to guess his age. He looks a lot younger than he really is, but he looks younger now than when I met him 4 years ago. Because I remember when I met and we were talking in Vegas and you say it was 3 hours, man. Time flew that evening, apparently, because I remember it being about an hour or so. But just like, here's a guy who looks about 10 years older than he is because he served his country. He's fought the bad guys, both home and abroad, and he's wearing the battle scars on his face and in his soul. And I'd love to be a part of seeing this guy get to come home. And here you are now, 4 short years later. And honestly, you look, you know, to me, 6 to 8 years younger than you did then. It's like a 10-year swing, man. Just life is treating you well. I would challenge you to consider one thing, just one thing. Take a day a week off, man. I mean, I think the Hebrews know what they're talking about when they talk about the Sabbath, dude. I mean, I think it's built into, you can do this 7-day-a-week thing for a while, and I applaud it. But there'll come a season where you realize I need a day a week where I just chill. I don't know. But
I did spend this last weekend at Amelia Island down in Florida.
There you go, man.
I do take breaks. So don't.
Yeah, good. There you go. Because I don't want to see my buddy burn out. But, man, yeah, but you're a ball of fire, man, and doing into all kinds of great things. People love having you as the coach. Nothing but great feedback. You've been on our team when did you join our team? About 6-8 months ago?
Oh, it's actually over a year. It's
been a year.
No,
we've got. You have to forgive me, man. We've got. I think 35, 40 coaches at this point. Some of whom I've never even met, which is just crazy. But yeah, it's just because so many great success. You know, you're another example of how we don't really recruit. We just notice people who are succeeding, who have a giving heart, who like helping others succeed, and we go to them like we did to you and said, "Hey, you want to help a few other people out? You know, share your journey, coach them into the kind of success that you've had." Expose them to the resources that we have because you're familiar with them. You're interested. And we start sending you a handful of people. And if it goes really well, we send you more. And you're one of those guys that we sent a handful and then it went really well. So now we're sending you a lot of coaching.
Yeah, I have a lot.
And how many do you have at any given time? Like what's your coaching routine look like? I'm just curious what your level is.
Right now it's about 20 to 30, I think, right now, which is moderate.
Gotcha. And we're very respectful of our coaches' time. I mean, if it's ever too much, you know where your boundaries are. We're like, hey, no, can't take any more right now. So we're always recruiting new great coaches because we're growing rapidly. But you've been a big part of that, man. You've played a really big role in helping a lot of people succeed, and just got this infectious personality and energy. We appreciate you, man. Just a great coach. Appreciate you. But hey, what else would you like to share with folks? We started talking a little bit about wholesaling. Maybe you could say, hey, if someone's brand new to this wholesale thing, where should they start? Or if they're new to Amazon, just talk to some of those newbies out there, and then maybe we'll talk to some of you who are stalled. Like you've tried the wholesale thing, but you're kind of stalled out. Maybe we'll try to give them some pointers and tips. But let's address those two groups for the next few minutes.
Well, I mean, we could kind of cover both of them because it may be just a unrealistic idea of what's supposed to be happening with Amazon or the returns, And so if you look at my schedule, the way that I have everything structured, my private label products, they usually take about a month turnaround before they get to the warehouse and they're being processed and that whole process. So a month. And then while I place those orders, I'm waiting on my wholesale products. Okay. My wholesale products have about a 3-week turnaround. So When the month ones, I'm waiting on the shipments to come in. I'm start doing a switch over to wholesale. Wholesale takes about 3 weeks. While I'm in between the wholesale, I'm doing OA. And then when I'm waiting on my OA orders to come in from Target and all these other places, I'm doing RA. And so every single day, there's something to do.
No question.
Don't be just tunnel vision. Yes, I go thrifting. Yes, I sell books. Yes, I'm going to garage sales. Yes, I'm what is your excuse? Like there's absolutely no reason for you not to make money in this.
When we met in Vegas, did I use the line, one of my favorites is, once you see the world properly, you see $100 bills blowing around in the wind. Did we discuss that? Is that not true? Is that not true?
It's like I didn't start making money until I stopped chasing money. Okay. Yes. When you stop chasing it, you see opportunity everywhere.
That's right.
Okay. Just the way that I approach like private label. Okay. If I find a gap in the market, I try to find a product that already exists first before I put up my own money to private label that thing. And so I go and I find wholesalers because I found a gap. And so I go and find a wholesaler. If the wholesaler doesn't want me to carry their product on Amazon, and then I try to partner with them. And so I always have a pivot. No matter what the situation is, there's a pivot to move over. Oh, you don't want me to be a wholesaler? So how about I do a listing audit? And here, you can make these improvements. You can have that for free. It took me 5 minutes to do, but here, this is value. Here's some back-end keywords you can put to increase your sales. That person's going to probably call you back in the next 3 months.
Yep.
Another consultation.
Yeah. That was a brilliant bit of advice right there, because some people think, well, wholesaling means I call one wholesale company after the other and say, hey, can I sell your stuff on Amazon? No. Hey, can I sell your stuff on Amazon? No. Hey, can I sell your stuff on Amazon? No. But if you come with just a little bit more creativity and energy and say, hey, I noticed your stuff on Amazon, I think we could be doing a whole lot better. And what I like about that model, it's actually one of the modules in the Proven Amazon course is our PPP, Proven Product Partnering, where there's zero investment on your part, and you're going with a can't lose proposition to these brands and saying, here's my basic pitch. I'm part of a 50,000 person community of people who live, eat, breathe, sleep selling on Amazon and selling creatively online.
Right.
I see some huge potential in your product. And for no money out of your pocket, I want to take a stab at doing something special if you'll let me.
Right.
Who's going to say no to that? Unless they've got hired somebody on staff who they're paying $150,000 a year to play that role, which no one does.
No.
They're going to be crazy not to take you up on your offer. Next thing you know, you're getting a percent. Or they may say, hey, well, just move it through your Amazon account. We're done with Amazon. Well, you're our exclusive seller. Just sell it through your account.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. You don't have to pay anything up front for the inventory.
No, zero. And that's the thing. If you're starting out, there's no excuse. Partner with somebody. Partner with an existing product. Partner with people on Kickstarter. Partner with people on Indiegogo. Go. Oh my God. Go to YouTube. Okay, go to YouTube and look at what your kids are watching. Look at the unboxing videos. Contact those manufacturers. Like, opportunity is everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, it really is.
On Etsy, everywhere.
Something I love about our coaching program too is you're not going to get, and early on, we were kind of pushed. People wanted us to have like a format and a format. Everybody goes through the same training. And there's some value initially. Like, we got to get some initial data from you. And there's a little bit of that. But after that, it's like, hey, your personality, your connections, your relationships, your experiences, your income, your geography, your educational background, your confidence level, all these things play into what you're going to be able to accomplish. So we're going to work on all those. And we're going to find the low-hanging fruit. And you mentioned OA and RA. Some people, I just learned a couple of days ago that those are a couple different types of arthritis. Some people, when they say OA and RA, they're like, rheumatoid arthritis and osteoporosis or something, right? So like, no, OA and RA, that's arbitrage. That's what we call retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. Basically, either getting online and going to a retail store, buying stuff for less money off the shelf and flipping it on Amazon or online somewhere for more money. The opportunities are ridiculous ridiculous, endless. I mean, right now, as we're recording this, Adrian, we've had a bunch of people get into our Q4 groups, just never sold anything online before, jumping in and killing it with that, just that basic. So when you don't know what to do one day, you're out with the kids running some errands. It's like, hey, let's take a few minutes, go over here, teach them some math skills. Get in there. And I've scanned with our kids before. I get their phone, download the seller app, and hey, they can scan just as easy as I can. Let's go hit the clearance aisle at some toy store, right? And their reward for finding some stuff is we buy a toy. It's chances to educate and to make money and have fun with your family. Opportunity.
Have you tracked the profitability of your kids' finds?
The profitability of.
I've separated my kids' finds in inventory labs.
No, I haven't. That's a beautiful idea. You can reward them specifically for the stuff they find. I love it.
Exactly. And so you can see like, hey, Ian's beating you. You might want to step your game up, Ethan. And so it's like all separated by what they find in the stores. And so I put like codes for my Ethan, Ian, Aiden. So everybody has like their own designation. So I can track the profitability.
That's awesome. Now, my mom runs that side of my business, and what we do, I know when we're naming our SKUs, the name that only we see, we use the date that we bought it, and then where it was from with a little two-letter initials, and then who bought it with another 2 letters. Right. And so that's neat. And then what we paid is the last number. So you come up with your own little code as you're entering your items, so that you can easily look back at just that. I know a lot of retail stores will do that. If you know how to read the code, you can see how long it's been on the shelf, when it expires, what they paid for it, what the bottom price is that they'll accept. Some stores do that. So we do the same thing in our. You said you use inventory labs, right? Yeah, cool. Yep. That's a great idea, though.
It's the same thing, just changing that, putting the code with their name in there. And I do the same thing with the companies that I partner with. This past weekend, while down in Florida, I stopped at a farmer's market. And from that farmer's market, I got 2 brand new wholesale accounts. Just walking through the farmer's market down there. And so
that's beautiful.
We have incredible stories that start that way. I mean, for those who, it reminds me of Barrington McIntosh. He was one of our coaching students, and he lived in Jamaica. We said, hey, find some local products that aren't on Amazon yet. Throw them on Amazon. See what happens. And he became the online coffee king of the universe in about a year and a half. Anybody who's anyone who sells coffee in Jamaica knows Barrington. He is their guy.
Right? Yeah, Barrington's the reason that I have a coffee line. Like he helped me start mine. And so I'll sell my coffee locally here in Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, you jump back 8 years ago or so, he'd never sold anything online. And he was one of our coaching students looking for advice. And the advice we gave him was the same thing we're saying now. Find something that's not on there yet and test it out. What harm can come from that? You learn how to set up a listing. You put it out there. Okay, so no one buys it. Move on to another product, right? Yeah. But in his case, it sold fast. It took off, and he just kept dropping different brands, and they kept selling fast. Right. And remember our original premise, Adrian, and I want to make sure the listeners understand this. 90% of what could be on Amazon just isn't there yet.
It's not there.
It's just not there yet. Yep.
Not there. And don't be afraid of no. Learn to love when people say no.
That's good.
If I come to you and I try to open a wholesale account, you say no. Then I try to partner with you, you say no. Now you just create a competition.
That's right. It's like, oh, you want to be a competitor of mine. Okay. Game on.
I give you a 10. All right. Now I'm going to go private label. You know what I mean? I'm going to try wholesale first. Because before I even start this process, I've already verified using the data. And the data basically increases the probability of you making that sale once you get the product to market. And so I already know I'm locked in on this category or this niche. And so when I go to the wholesaler, I already have my mind made up. And so I can be a little bit more assertive with that because I know this is going to sell. They don't know, but I know it's going to sell. So if they say no, you just create a competition.
That's all right.
So now I go.
Have you played around much with PPI? Have you been through that module in the Proven Amazon course yet? The PPI?
I haven't been through that yet.
Dude, you need to check it out. You need to check it because the basic premise. And for the sake of the listener, and this is actually a good point to illustrate. Now, not all of our coaches are experts in every area that we teach, but PPI is what put Brett, my partner Brett Bartlett, on the map with us, where they basically run test ads in Amazon, not to try to sell product. Let's say you've got those 5 or 10 units of your product, and your initial data through whatever tool you use said, this is a hot product. The only way to know for sure if it's truly hot or not, in our opinion, is to run some test ads and see how many sessions are generated, how many people are looking for that keyword phrase that you use to send traffic to your item. And that's it. So you come up with the ideal, because it doesn't matter what tools you're using, the actual data trumps the tool every time. Where you say, okay, we put this product up for sale using this keyword phrase as our target for our ad. And that phrase had 1,500 people use it yesterday, that exact match phrase. So we know exactly how many people yesterday typed in that phrase. And we could say, that is the winning phrase. Until we come up with another phrase better than this one, that is a winning phrase. Targeting. Yeah. And that's the phrase we're going to target. It doesn't matter what all the tools are saying. This phrase is gold because it's the only way to get data directly from Amazon. And the way I think of it is, it's the only way to get Amazon to tell you exactly what you should be selling and what keywords you should be using. All the other tools are using guesses at the data, and some of them are good. But if you can get Amazon to tell you those two pieces of information, what people are searching for and how frequently they're using certain search terms, man, that's gold. They're basically Amazon telling you what product to sell. I think if you added that to your arsenal, dude, you'd have as much of a data guy as you are, you'd really enjoy it.
I have a slight variation of that, that I do currently, but I think that I'll definitely pick up a whole lot of ideas from looking
Absolutely. We'll dive into it, man. We've got some people who just geek out. That's all they do is geek out on PPI, man. And we've got PPI coaches. We've got 3 of them. That's all they coach. And
I always say that you gotta bribe Amazon for them to tell you the secrets. And so that's what the
Yep, you pay them a little ad money, but $10-$20 spent, and you know a lot.
Right? Exactly. You gotta bribe them a little bit. Okay, give me the data, give me the reports, and all right, now I have to find which niche I'm going to tackle next. So,
beautiful. Well, hey man, as we start to land this plane, I've got a little girl who's itching to get daddy to the pet store, man. So that's my gig the rest of the day. But I'd love to hear what advice you'd give. I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. You take this wherever you want. The people that are listening to this show, some people are skeptical. Is this stuff real? Some people are thinking, I've tried and it's not working yet. Let's speak some encouragement and specific direction. You mentioned that conversation we had 4 years ago. Well, you have a chance to be that role for a whole bunch of people. Any given episode of this get eventually listened to by 15, 20,000 people. And a lot of them are skeptics. Let's talk to them for a minute.
Look, if you are worried about the past, I can roll down a whole bunch of lists of reasons why I shouldn't be where I am today. Okay. I'm minority. I grew up in the projects. I was abandoned by my parents. I was rattle on. I was homeless in 2010. I've been there, done that. But there has to be a day where you take that person, you take the failure, the pain, the fear, you take it and you box it up. And you start changing the input that's coming into your life. Okay? If you're not happy with the output that you see, change the input. Okay? Stop leaving so much space throughout your day for you to think about the failures, for you to the fear to set back in. Block your schedule, stick to it. Commit to something. Find a why. My kids are my why. And I knew that I was not going to be there for my kids if I kept putting my life on the line every single day in order to get a paycheck. It was not worth it in the end. The most rewarding thing that I've ever experienced is to be able to take a year off to be with my son after he was born. There's no way that I could do that working a 9-to-5 for somebody. That's the power of owning your own business. That's the power of getting linked up with a community that is going to support you and deliver relevant, actionable advice to you daily. You got to get with a coach. I don't know one successful person in this community that does not have a coach. You need that. That is the express lane to the top. Okay? Because you're not going to start from where I started and get to where I am, because I'm always going to be 5 years ahead of you, because I'm not going to stop. So if you want to get to where I am quickly, then you need to come to me or one of our other coaches. But back to the story, like, get serious about this. Okay? Like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're like a battery. Every decision that you make, everything that you put your hands on, you're using a little bit of that power. You're using a little bit of that energy. And when you deplete that, you're gone. Game over. So what are you using your energy on? Are you using your energy on profit producing tasks? Or are you using your energy on propagating more fear in your life? Keeping yourself on the wheel, living check to check. You got to take the leap. You got to take a risk sometime in your life in order to realize something higher. You got to learn how to face that fear. And it's going to be becoming intimate with what is uncomfortable, becoming intimate with looking inside, intimate with what's inside you, your self-talk. Don't be afraid.
That's beautiful, dude. I might have to play that last 2 minutes to myself every morning when I wake up the next couple of days. You have a gift, and it comes from a very genuine place. I mean, you haven't even shared, I remember some of the details from 4 years ago, and some of them we just spoke. You were to the point you were sharing with me just a few minutes ago. You couldn't remember more than 2 digits of a number.
Oh yeah,
because your brain was in such a hard place. That's not all that long ago.
Yeah. This was a year and a half ago, guys. I suffer from PTSD from combat. Okay, and I've had episodes where the stress gets so heavy that my memory starts to just compress. I literally, it feels like I'm losing everything. And it got so bad a year and a half ago, I couldn't remember. I went to a family reunion. I couldn't remember anybody's name. I couldn't remember more than 2 digits at a time as far as number sequences. I would, people say, oh, I walked in the room and I just forgot what I was doing. This is every day, like all day. I'm just forgetting what I was doing, where I was going, directions to get to places. And so social anxiety was like crazy, where I couldn't go into a restaurant. I would just sit in the car, white knuckling the steering wheel, like terrified to get out of the car. And so this is the reality of PTSD, and these are things that I've had to overcome and push through in order to make this happen for my kids, to come home to my kids and give them that better life, because I'm not sacrificing for them. I know everybody's like, I do this for my kids. No, do it for yourself, because the better you do, the more they're going to benefit automatically. So don't ever sacrifice for them. Do it for you. Get up in the morning for you. Push hard for you.
That's beautiful, man.
You're going to benefit, man.
When you're on an airplane, they tell you with the oxygen masks, hey, if the loss of cabin pressure happens, put your oxygen mask on yourself first, because you're no good to anybody if you're passed out.
Exactly.
Right?
If you're dead, what does it matter?
Yeah. So if you would,
any good to anybody.
In order to serve well, you've got to take care of yourself first.
Right.
And there's nothing selfish about that. Taking good care of yourself, which you're doing an admirable job at. And buddy, I know there's a product that you're working on. We'll have you back, and maybe we'll launch it in this community that you're super excited about. It's a private label product you're hoping to bring to the world that is going to, it's something that changed your life, and you got so involved in it that you're trying to produce it now. So we'll save that story for another time. But I think this community could benefit. I've got 2 people that I love that deal with PTSD and struggle through daily. So I know it's a very real thing, man. It's not just about being jumpy when you hear loud noises. There's a lot of other stuff going on up here that makes day-to-day life, a challenge at times, but you've overcome it in an admirable way. I think this is one of those episodes that's going to inspire and encourage. And 5-10 years from now, you'll be hearing from people that say, hey, I heard you win. And that was a turning point for me. So you're impacting and influencing a lot of lives. And it is a honor and a pleasure to partner with you, Adrian. Hope you realize how meaningful this is for me as well.
Hey, definitely. This is I definitely don't take the opportunity lightly. I said that I would be here when we first met.
I vaguely remember that. I have a lot of people say those kind of things to me, but you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I remember you had a glint of determination in your eye. I remember that for sure.
I said, watch me work. I said, I'll be there.
And the observation you're probably one of those guys that firmed it up in my mind. I like having these questions. If answer these 3 questions and I'll tell you your future. I like analyzing people that way because I encounter a lot of people and I have very short time to kind of, sum up who I'm dealing with. There's just a few questions I'll ask people. And one of them is, tell me your routine. And if on any of these questions, if the person starts off with, well, it's game over. I'm like, I know all I need to know. But exactly. It's kind of like, I've encouraged my daughter, one of the questions I'm going to ask guys that you bring home is, tell me what you do for work, son. And if he says, well, game over. Super living. Right. So that's one of the questions is, tell me about your routine. The other is, what kind of people do you like hanging out with? Tell me about the people you hang out with the most. Right. That'll tell you a lot about a person, right? Just those 2 questions right there. But you're a routine guy. And I remember thinking, man, this guy, even at that time when you were struggling and about to go through one of the hardest times of your life, you had a routine. Like you told me that the 12 things that you do before you go to bed every night. I do this, and this, and this. Then I turn off these items and I set my alarm for this time. And I'm like, this dude's going places. I remember thinking that. I don't do all that stuff, man. I drift off to sleep somewhere between 10 and 11,
We'll get into the details in part 2. We'll
do it, man. I think you'll have some people asking that. You're going to have a book. You've got a book in you, dude. I want you working on it. All right, man.
I'll do that.
You've got an incredible, and we'll push it to the top of Amazon. This community will jump in and buy a bunch of it. I know I will. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here, Adrian. This has been a lot of fun for me, dude, and it's just a pleasure hanging out with you every time, brother. But hey, listeners, Silent Sales Machine Nation, if you will, business building warriors, man, this was a great time. And trust me on this one, you'll want to jump over and watch the YouTube version if you're just hearing the audio, because Adrian just exudes this energy and this determination and motivation, man. I feel motivated. I want to work 3 more hours today. I was about to quit because of Adrian, man. He's just a brilliant guy. But hey, if you want to work with someone like Adrian or one of our other fantastic coaches, go to jimcockramcoaching.com. Again, that'll be in the show notes, either below this if you're watching the video or somewhere near the video, or at silentjim.com/podcast. But hey, business building warriors, no matter where you are, we're in your corner. Adrian and I are rooting for you. We want you to succeed. We want you to join this community, be a part of encouraging others. And from me to all the listeners today, God bless you. Stay on the path. Keep fighting. We'll do this again real soon. Talk to you then.